Hello, friends. It's Warren here from my house in Clairview, Edmonton. During these times of self isolation and people distancing from each other for the very best of reasons, I've been very much enjoying all the funny videos and songs and jokes and funny drawings that people have been sharing around to bring a smile to my face. Well, as an organist, I would do that by playing the organ for you, but people can't gather together in churches right now. So I have decided that the way that I can contribute my little iota of happiness to you who love organ music is by committing myself to playing an organ recital per week and somehow, I don't know how, getting it up onto social media. I'm struggling to learn this new technology of open broadcasting studio, and I haven't even tried to master downloading it or uploading it to YouTube yet. But all of these things will happen. But you will see, therefore, that since I am struggling with it, at the moment the production values of this video will very likely be a couple of notches below that of your average terrorist hostage video. And certainly it will be done with one take, one camera angle from beginning to end, and really doesn't show the pedals very well because I can't really do that from where I'm at. So all of these things you will deal with, but hopefully I will make happy music for you. The first piece that I'm going to play in this first recital for you is Carillon by Herbert Murrell. Herbert Murrell was a Brit who studied music at Worcester College in Oxford, held a couple of high-end British high-end British church positions and university positions as well, but never any cathedrals. So perhaps this piece is a tribute to the little guy, shall we say. My bench creaks, you'll hear that quite a bit, and I'm going to do this all the way through, and so there will be mistakes. I'm only human, so please don't make nasty comments about that. We will next travel, for the next piece, we'll travel to Holland in the 16th century, so really quite a long way back. We will be hearing a piece by Gerhardus Skronks, who is not a very well-known person. Wikipedia gives his dates as 15 question mark to 16 question mark. But he was a typical Dutch organist of the time in that he loved to do echo fantasies. An echo fantasy would exploit the possibilities of the high-up Hoofdwerk division, the main organ with the big sound, and the smaller organ, the Rugwerk, Rugpositief, on the gallery rail that's more present and close and perhaps a little bit more pungent. And going back and forth between the two, he manages to create a very charming, happy little piece. And I want to play only charming, happy little pieces for you. I'm going to play this piece on mean tone E temperament, which is very much like the sort of temperament that he would have known at the time. Now, staying on the same historic temperament, we'll change our geographic location to Spain and our time period to about 150 years later, maybe 200. We're not sure when Skronks was exactly. And I'm going to play a piece by Padre Antonio Soler. He's a padre because all cathedral organists and working church musicians like that had to take holy orders. This is a piece from a harpsichord collection, and it probably was very likely played on organ because it is called Sonata de Clarines, and clarines are not the horizontal chamade trumpets that are so appealing on Spanish organ cases. They're the vertical trumpets inside the case that have a slightly less commanding sound. Now you'll notice in the music that you can't quite tell if it's Baroque or classical, and that's because Soler lived right in that transition period between 1730 and the 1770s, etc., which were the time of transition. He probably studied with Domenico Scarlatti, and therefore that accounts for the harpsichordy kind of character of this music. So, Sonata de Clarines by Padre Antonio Soler. We'll travel now to Germany, where Bach was operating, and we'll play a piece by Bach from his Orgelbüchlein, or collection of little organ chorales. This is called O Mensch, bewein deine Sünde groß, and it's a Lenten chorale. Has a very poignant melody, and he decorates it in a very poignant way. The text, O Mensch bewein, by the way, means, O man, bewail thy grievous sin. And so the whole thing is about how terrible it is that you have sinned, and thinking about that during Lent. At the end, there's a profound change in the harmonies. They become deeper and richer in quite an amazing way, Bach using chords that you don't very often hear. And he does that because the text at that point underlines the fact that, yes, you have sinned, yes, you must be sorry for your sins, but the price of your sins was Jesus hanging on the cross and dying. So the harmonies reflect a great deal of sorrow and love on Bach's highly pious Lutheran heart. We'll move to the 20th century now, to America, to San Antonio, Texas, as a matter of fact, where David Johnson wrote over 300 anthems in his day, and several very famous trumpet tunes. But this one that I'm about to play for you right now is the most famous trumpet tune of all, Trumpet Tune in D by David Johnson. I'd like to end this recital with a piece by Louis Vierne, one of my very favorite composers. Louis Vierne, of course, is the blind organist of Notre Dame in Paris, which of course suffered that terrible tragedy last year of having all of the roofing and roofing timbers catch fire and then the steeple fall, causing much damage to the vaulting. The building may be savable. The only thing holding it together right now is the melted scaffolding. The organs, the famous organ that Vierne played, the Cavaillé-Coll organ, actually is in perfect shape. It didn't suffer at all because it was protected by a stone walkway that goes between the two tall towers, which is right exactly, the organ is underneath that. So the fireman's hoses never ever reached it or drenched that organ in any way. In fact, a thermometer inside the organ, which was a computer thing that could register temperature all the time, never got above 70 degrees at that point. So that organ will be completely replayable and restorable. The organ at the front, the smaller choir organ, definitely got doused with water, but it will also be restorable as well. So let's hope that as they carefully do the work of restoring the whole building and trying to separate the existing vaulting from the melted scaffolding, that they can in fact replace and repair that priceless building, so that this wonderful carillon de Longpont can once again sound forth in that astounding acoustic. Now, I have changed the acoustic on this organ very boldly to the full cathedral acoustic, which is incredibly reverberant, for one very good reason. It slows me down a little bit. So, Carillon de Longpont by Louis Vierne. Thank you. Goodbye from Notre Dame in Clairview, and we'll see you at the next recital.